As I said, you can easily get everything on Drupal websites. So just go to drupal.org. When you load this Drupal, you have download section. Okay, this download section is very important because this is the place from where you are going to get everything for your website, for developing your website. Here you get the Drupal core, that is actual and installer, all the modules, themes, translations. That means you don't want to develop your website in English, you want to develop in Spanish and Deutsch. So for that you need to have the translator, and the installation profiles, some documentation and all. First of most, we are going to download a Drupal core. Now I click on Drupal core. We are going to use Drupal 6, the latest available module. The section is Drupal 6.25. Now what I need to do, I just need to download a zip file or a tar file. So let's download it. Now what next? The moment I'll download it, I need to go to my web environment. If you're developing the website locally, so you can just go to your www folder, or if you are into using IIS, so you just go to npub or the www root folder and uncompress the Drupal package. Or if you're using some remote hosting, so you just upload it and uncompress there. After downloading, what do you need? You need a database, which is actually your container, which is holding everything from the backend. So you need a database, so you need to create a database. After uncompressing or uploading and uncompressing the Drupal package, you need to do some basic setting. For that, in Drupal package, you have a folder called sites. In sites folder, you have one more folder called default. Default folder is a main folder which interact with the user inputs and outputs and store the information. Now what does it do? It's a store all the files, all the related attachments and all. But apart from that, this default folder stores a setting for connecting and then the basic setting for the Drupal environment. So there by default with the Drupal package, you will get a file called default.setting.php. What do you need to do? You need to make a copy of it, the default.setting.php file, and just rename it to settings.php. That's it. You don't need to do anything else to install the Drupal environment. But if you are using the Linux environment, for that file and for that folder, you need to give a complete permission for read, write and execute permission for all your group, your user and then the other owners as well. So if you are using the Linux environment, and to make sure you give the permission, read, write and execute for all the members. After following that, what do you need to do? You need to locate your Drupal path where you have compressed the folder or the package. So let's follow this step and see how we can create a Drupal website. I have already downloaded the Drupal package. So this is my Drupal 6.25 which we are using because this is the latest release from the Drupal, and that's I'm going to install into my web server directory. Okay. What do I need to do? First, I need to uncompress it, unzip it here. Okay. By default, it will give you the name as it is. What is the name for the package? I can rename it to anything. I can give the ABCD my root directory or as per my project. So here we are going to develop a website into the for the travel store. My website name is travel store. So I'll give name as travel store. Fair enough. Once you have downloaded or uncompressed it, as I said, we need to go to site folders. Then you have default folders in which you have default.setting.php file. This is the main setting file which store all the database connection, your root path, and then the environment variable which is required for the Drupal to interact with. So I'll just copy and paste it. And I need to keep the file name as settings.php. So this is, because it's a PHP file, the extension has to be PHP. And Drupal search for this file when you actually do the installation. Now this is, we have downloaded and uncompressed the file. But what do we need? We need a database because it's a container for the website. So I'll go to my local environment. I'm using the local environment for the development. So I'll go to my local environment. I can go to directly command prompt and interact with the database, or I can say localhost and php my admin. When you install VM, it will install this user interface for the packages. I need to start my web server, so I'll say VAMP. You make sure your web server is running before you installing or doing anything with the website. Okay, my web server is running. Now I can go to my database environment, and here are the database. So this is a GUI environment of the MySQL database. You can go here and create your database, or if you're well versed with the MySQL database, you can go to the command prompt, or if it is a Linux environment, you can go to the database server and you can say MySQL and -u minus and the username, and then connect with the database server and then create a database. But here I'm using this UI environment to create a database, and I'll just say my database name as travel